how to find South African stocks to invest in. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Jared Naidu and welcome back to Capital GBT. So today I'm going to teach you guys how to find South African stocks to invest in. And the problem is I find with South Africans is a lack of knowledge or the lack of education on how to invest in South African stocks. So we're going to go through the process of choosing how to pick this particular stocks, because we can know the platforms like Easy Equities, Stock, and other platforms, but knowing which stocks to pick is the hardest part. And it took me years to kind of learn and go through the process, because we see tons of videos on how to find US stocks, but then finding South African stocks is a completely different way of finding it. And you can find a lot of similarities, but then you got to take into consideration things like government, the way that we run things in South Africa compared to how they run things in the US. So first things first, I'm going to take you guys through a website that I use, which most people do use, especially Americans, which is called investing.com, right? So first things first, we go onto a platform called investing.com, right? So investing.com is basically a platform or website where they'll give you everything stocks related. Now, what we can see is we're seeing a lot of US news and European news. So what we can do is where we see the American flag, we can go all the way down, click it, go there, and where's South Africa? We see South Africa here. I think that makes a difference. Is it that? So now we can look and we can see South African top 40. We can look at shares. There we go. We got trending stocks. We can have a look at the most active stocks. We can look at top gainers. So top gainers currently, if we're looking, it's 16% on Labit Africa. There's a few other ones that are here, and that's what we can see, right? So the most active stocks that are trading in South Africa is Naspers, which is a very well-known stock. And let's give you guys an example. If you guys invested in Naspers, let's go in a monthly chart. If you bought Naspers in 2022, we're in 2025 now, you would have bought it at 162k, and it's all the way up to 517k. Now you're not buying for specifically you putting 165k. You buying for the certain amount that you are you buy for a certain amount. For example, let's say you're investing 1,000 rand into the stock, so it's basically 5x. Let's just say 5x, it's less than that. So if you put 1,000 rand and it 5x, you would have made roughly 5k, right? So your 1,000 would have then become 5,000, which means your profit will be 4,000. Now that's the power of investing in a long term. So this is 2022 to 2025, and a lot of people, when they get into stocks, they want to make money, like buy today and sell tomorrow, and that's called day trading. And we're not talking about day trading now. We're currently talking about buying stocks, and stocks is a long-term investment. Now, long-term can mean 3 months to 6 months. Long-term could mean 5 years to 10 years. Long-term could be 50 years, right? Warren Buffett has bought Coca-Cola, never sold, and he's holding it, and I don't think he'll ever sell Coca-Cola. So that's a certain stock that a lot of people are trading. So coming back to how we would look for stocks, right? Now, if we look at South African stocks, right, I think the best way is for us to look at performance, right? And if we can see what's currently down, right? So not the top gainers, but the top losses. So we can click on a week. So it'll show us the best, right? And then it'll show us the worst with minus. Now, if we're looking here, we're looking at, for example, let's go Anglo Gold. Now, gold's been down recently, but on the long term, gold is very bullish. Gold is going to go up. Even Gold Fields is down, right? But if you look at Gold Fields for a year, Gold Fields for a year is up 38%, right? In 3 years, it was up. It's up 165%. If you look at all these other stocks, very few of them are up over 100%, right? Naspers, as we spoke about earlier, is up 200%, right? So Naspers is a very secure investment, right? If you want to put money into Naspers and leave it for 5 years, like for example, 3 years, you're up 200%. So if you want to like average in and put every single month, put 100 Rand, 200 Rand into Naspers, I 100% recommend that. So let's look at a stock that I'm very familiar with, it's Goldfield, right? So what we do, right, is we see Goldfields and we knowing that gold is bullish in the long run, because gold, okay, let's show you guys what I do as well. So I go into trading.com, trading view, sorry. I go to trading view. So we're on trading view looking at gold. And if we look at gold on the overall, let's go month, right? Monthly. We look at gold monthly. Gold is gold. We can see that gold is bullish. This is 2020. Gold was running around $1,500, right? Gold is currently at 3,500. So on the long term, gold we know is bullish, right? If we go all the way down to the 2000s, gold was $300 and it's all the way up right now. So knowing that gold is going up, we know that gold long term is bullish. And if a certain stock that's related to gold is down, we can see Goldfields is down currently. So what can we do? We can look at Goldfields. Okay, Goldfields not coming up on TradingView, but if we can the analysis here, right? And if we go on a monthly basis, like I said, we can see that gold's overall bullish. Goldfields, sorry, it's overall bullish, right? But if we look recently, if we look at let's go to the daily chart, right? If we look at the daily chart, we can see that it's down. Let me show you guys on gold, right? If you look at gold and if you look at particularly the daily chart, right? We're looking at the daily chart and we can see we can see a strong upward, right? So what we can see is that gold made a big push up and then a big push down. Now, what a lot of people do is they get scared and they sell here. And I mean, when they'll buy, for example, here, and then the price comes back down here, and they're scared that their stock's gonna go to zero. Your stock will never go to zero, ever. So the only time you lose money is when you sell on a loss. If you hold that stock for 5 months, 6 months, 12 months, or even 2 years, if that's what you need to do. Remember, when you invest, you're not investing money that you 100% need tomorrow. You need to put money that's, for example, that you will put into savings, you put into stocks, right? So gold made it all the way down. It took liquidity, right? And I think a lot of people need to understand when you in stocks, there's still a level of day trading analysis, right? Technical analysis that plays a role. So we can look here, for example, we can look at the news, the general news of Goldfields, right? We'll see the news of what's happening around the thing, right? So we can read all these different articles. We can see that Goldfields agrees to buy Australia's gold road for 2.4 billion, right? We can see that they're making moves in the market. Goldfields receives investment bank analysis. We can see Australian Gold Road, it's record high on rejecting Goldfields' 2.5 billion offer. So we can see all these things that's related to the specific stock, right? So that's called fundamentals. Now we're looking at technical included. So when it comes to stocks, it helps so much when you understand why you're buying the stock, which is their fundamentals, and then the technical is timing when to buy, right? And a lot of people don't agree on timing the market, but I 100% believe that you should time the market if you can. If, for example, if you're trying to buy uh, if you're trying to buy a 6-pack of milk, right, and it's going for 100 Rand. If you see the special is going for 90 Rand, you're going to buy it. And it's the same thing with the stock now. You want to buy stocks that are on a special, right? They're on a discount. So we can look at gold, and if gold's currently trading at 3,286, and we see the high is 3.5, we know that it's gonna go back up there, right? So if we can buy here, right? If we can buy here, uh, we know that this stock's going to go back up there, right? So that's the aim. If you could time the market in a sense that it's not at its high, the only time I don't want you to buy a specific stock is if it's at its high. If it's an all-time high, don't buy the stock because it's going to eventually probably come back down, and that's your time to buy. And you're going to make that mistake of selling when the price made all-time high and you bought there and you're gonna sell here, and then you're gonna regret not buying, you regret selling, and then you're gonna buy here again, and it's gonna come back down, and you're gonna sell. So that's what most retail traders do, is that they try to time the market wrongly, and they don't understand how to time the market properly. And that's where you look at the technical. So if we could buy here, for example, and now we know it's going back up there. So that's how we can look to buy South African stocks, right? We look for stocks that are undervalued. If we look at, let's say, NetBank, right? NetBank South Africa. What's happening with NetBank? Let's look at overall. Let's look at a month, right? So overall, we can see that NetBank is bullish, right? They made a very big drop, right? If you time the market from here, well, this is 2020, right? If you bought in 2020, which is COVID, so COVID time, market dipped all the way down to 7.7, and then it pushed all the way up to 30,000, bro. You bought in NetBank that time, you're making crazy money. So look, I think NetBank's a crazy good time to buy. It came back down here. In technical terms, it tapped into liquidity. It made a big push up. It took out all the sellers in the market, and now it's pushing back up, right? So I believe that NetBank is a good buy right now. But again, let's confirm by looking at NetBank. Let's look at NetBank on a fundamental aspect, right? So you have NetBank here. It's down today 1.7% basically. If we can look at the news in that, look at what's happening around Air Revolution. It's South African hospitality sector. Are you ready? Um, I think it's so these stuff is basically like fake NetBank group scams investors. So look here, seeing things like this will automatically drive the price down. Let's have a look. Let's test the theory, right? So let's look at March. Where's March? March. Look here. March candle. This came out in March. March went all the way down here. March peaked at 30,100. It went all the way down to 25,000. So look at that. When you see bad news, you'll see automatically it'll affect the technical end of the price of the stock, right? So April, did anything happen in April? Nothing crazy, but it did dip. I'm not sure why specifically, because I don't really follow South African stocks that much. But I know that overall, I know that this NetBank is bullish, right? If I were to invest in South African stock right now, I think NetBank is a really good buy. So what will we do is maybe NetBank could come back down here, slowly push up there, push there, then come back up, right? And even if we trade and we buy here, and even if we sell at the at the high, right? What is the all-time high? Let's go on a yearly. Let's go yearly, right? So we can see what is all-time high. So all-time high is here in 2018, and I believe that it will go back up there. It grabbed a bunch of liquidity in 2020. Well, took a lot of people in the market, and I think it'll continue to fly up. So I think I've addressed the basics of buying South African stocks, what to look for in South African stocks. Yeah. So guys, yo, let's try and get in a good space. Okay. So guys, please make sure you like, you subscribe. If you want me to do more breakdowns on how to buy stocks, the next one I'm going to do is showing you guys how to buy US stocks as a South African, and I'll show you guys platforms to use as well. So guys, make sure you like, you subscribe. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments down below, and I'll reply as soon as possible. Peace.